importantly, what's happening?
Hey, thanks, Yash. Thanks for having me here. And hi, everyone. Um, I think we've already crossed 350K, if I'm not wrong, which is
Yeah,
amazing. So I remember you telling me that we're going to do this for 300,000. But I think the growth of the community is faster than your execution of the plan. So you might have to, give less number of days for speakers to join next time. You want such a milestone to be celebrated. Um, but I think this it's an I don't think I ever thought that we would hit such a large number in such a short time, especially because this is all organic, and I think that's the best part. It's not like we got some agency to just help bump up the numbers or something. um, all we've been doing is just talking about Shardium and being transparent with everyone, and that has helped everyone in the community to go and tell their friends about Shardium, getting them to join the community. So, and I think this is the right way to build things. If you start with fancy numbers by increasing them by paying people, that sets a base which is weak. And when the times are tough, such efforts lead to having no community at all, or a very weak community. But if you look at the community of Shardium, I think it's one of the strongest community. The funny thing is, everyone grows in a bull market, but in a bear market, everyone all the growth goes down. But I think with the Shardium's community, the growth has been always upwards, irrespective of what happens to the market. And I think that's because everyone is so mission driven rather than just focusing on whether it's a bull market or a bear market. I think everyone is focusing on how do we grow the Web3 ecosystem, how do we talk about decentralization, how do we teach it to everyone around us, and how do we get them to get involved in it. I think that is something which has led to this amazing growth. And I'm sure, like you said, we'll definitely be the largest L1 Discord in the world. Let's continue to focus on that, and let's get all of our friends and everyone to join this amazing community that is growing so fast.
Definitely. So, as you mentioned, growing organic is a very hard task too, and that is something we've been able to achieve. So, and as you also mentioned that we were supposed to celebrate 300K folks, but we've already crossed 350K Shardians. So again, a great feat. But what exactly do you think the strategies or the factors that have contributed to have a number like this?
I think it's not just one thing, it's a culmination of a lot of factors which has led to this. But the most important thing, and I've heard this often from everyone, is the whole OCC framework that we employ, which is being open, collaborative, and community driven. And it's one thing to set frameworks; it's another to really live up to those expectations and make sure that everyone is in sync with what the framework is. And I think as a team and as a community, we've all stayed true to that OCC framework, which is really helping us grow. For example, I see different uh, I would say communities that are being built around Shardium, not just the community is built by our foundation, but even those that are part of Shardium leagues, for example, they're also collaborative. They're always helping. I often see on Twitter, so many collaborations happening between different Shardium run communities and different apps, and I think that's a sign that this framework has really gone deep into everyone's mind and everyone loves it and they're following it. And I think for us also we have to continue to do that. In fact, I would say while we are open, my objective is how do we get even more open, how do we open up all of the communication channels faster. uh, right now we are still learning. For example, we've opened up I think from day one, the whole weekly community marketing calls, where we talk about all of the metrics that we achieve in marketing. We want to do this for rest of the parts of Shardium. including the tech. It's going to take some time because some of the teams are really caught up, especially tech team is building out the blockchain software. They're busy with that. We didn't want them to now put some effort, because being open requires a lot of efforts, but it is required for decentralization. So the objective is to double down on the OCC framework as we move ahead. But I think in general, OCC has definitely really helped us grow. Apart from that, I think Shardium Leaks, which I just spoke about, I think that's an amazing initiative. Now, what usually happens, what I've seen in a lot of other projects, is they always want to own everything. They want to own all of the communities they build. They want to own all of the products they build on top. But if you truly want to build something decentralized, you should be about not owning anything as a foundation. And the Shardium Foundation, for example, it's a non-profit foundation. It does not have the objective of ever creating something profitable for itself. The only focus is build the software and get it out for people to use it. So that really helps us let people build their own communities. And I would love to see some of these communities grow. In fact, I think I would love to see some of the communities get even bigger than the communities the foundation is building. And that'll be the true success of OCC, when you have uh, different communities built by the community growing bigger and more stronger. I think we have about 48 communities now. We'll soon cross 50. It's an amazing number for our stage. And there are some amazing Twitter accounts that I go through, like Shardium Times. Shardium Africa is doing amazing work. The Shardium India, the Shardium memes, which really they have some really funny memes that I often love sharing with people in my network. So yeah, I think Shardium Leaks has definitely helped, and let's continue. I would love to see 100 as a number there. We're close to 50 now. Um, I think apart from that, some of these weekly quizzes that we run, that's really helped. Apart from these initiatives, I think outside um, the whole focus of just Discord, I think what has really helped is the fact that anyone can run a node. Now, we never expected, just to tell a story, like when we were about to launch the BetaNet, me and Omar were discussing, and the idea was that with the BetaNet, anyone can run a node. And we needed about, I think, minimum 150 nodes to be run. And me and Omar were like, okay, we need to run 150 nodes, and maybe the community might run a few nodes here and there. So we were thinking maybe 10, 20, 50 nodes might be run by the community, but we will still have to support by running our own nodes. But on day one, I think we crossed over close to 1,000 nodes by the community, which was amazing. But yeah, with that, we started learning what it takes to make a network truly have community run nodes, which the team is now learning and working on improving the network. But I think if you if you truly want to build an amazing community, the most important thing is to give the power to the community, and that's what I think I'm hoping at Shardium we are doing. And if anyone from the community thinks that you need more support from us, please let us know. But ultimately, I think anyone who's part of the community should have the right to start any initiatives around Shardium to grow the Shardium community. And I think that's what we are seeing happening with all these leaks and the other efforts. So yeah, it's a culmination of a lot of factors. I wouldn't say that we just did this one thing and it happened. I think the entire community is responsible for this growth, and it's evident from the numbers that we are seeing now with 350K members.
Definitely. So, as you mentioned that OCC has been one of the biggest factors out there. So, like when you're talking about OCC, which again stands for Open, Collaborative, and Community Driven, and I think everybody supports, loves OCC. So, what exactly motivated you or prompted you to ensure that Shardium follows this approach?
So I think you know if you're building something, so my focus right from day one has been that if we are going to build a truly decentralized network, it should not happen that the teams that are working on it are more powerful than the community that is really, helping build it and grow it and support it. And this is a problem that I always encountered myself whenever I look at any project. It's always the teams that are in more control, that know more, they have unfair advantages compared to the community. And I was trying to figure out how can we solve that? How can we do it such that we reach a day where the amount of information you and I know is the same or probably even lesser than the amount of information out there in the public about our project. And brainstorming on that is what led to OCC. Uh, the objective was, let's first put a framework, like a mental model for everyone, for me, for you, for everyone who's part of Shardium, to say that if we follow these three principles, we'll reach a stage where the network would be truly decentralized. And what we mean by truly decentralized is not just about calling it decentralized, calling it open source, or calling it a blockchain, but where the information asymmetry that exists in so many other projects uh, is not existent in Shardium. And when I say information asymmetry, I think is the biggest thing that happens even in centralized services, which is the founders, the founding team always know more. Think about the internet. There is no information asymmetry. You know everything about the internet as much as someone else, and if you want to acquire more information, you can always learn more about it. There's no secret between, let's say, some people who run the internet versus some people who use the internet. Everyone's the same. You're using the internet, you're also helping run it in some way or the other. And I think that led to the creation of OCC, and I think it's really worked well. While we are still, some, I would say, some efforts away from reaching a stage where information asymmetry is completely gone in Shardium. Uh, but I think we will get there if we continue to focus on this model. I think we'll reach a stage where I would love to get information about Shardium from um, others in the community rather than it being always where the teams are always the ones giving information. And for that, you require a lot of things. Like Shardium leaks is one, where if there are so many communities built out, the information asymmetry reduces. If a lot of projects are built out, the information asymmetry reduces. We are open sourcing the code slowly. We've open sourced some part of it, some part will open source. Then there'll be devs who are building features where they discuss among themselves, and then they start building features. I think these are the things that will ultimately lead to Shardium reaching a true decentralized stage. And for that, I think OCC is like the underlying framework that will help make it happen.
Definitely, OCC has really helped us. I see a lot of people here in the audience who have their own community, who have their own project on top of Shardim. Not just this, I have also seen a lot of people now hosting their own meetups, own proof of community meetups everywhere. So definitely, this has really helped us, and I think the communities or the projects that are listening to us should also follow something like this. But coming to the initial days of our Discord community where it all started, can you I have seen you there, and can you remember some of your community movements that are your favorite?
Uh, I think there's a lot of those, but I think I still remember there are quite a few in the community who are still active, and they joined on day zero at Shardium. And I think that just shows the enthusiasm each of those people have for building a decentralized network. And I think many of the people who are joining Shardium, they're all mission oriented. The mission is to make decentralization accessible to everyone. And I think that feeling of being part of this community where everyone has that same mission and everyone is working towards it makes me really proud to be part of it. Um, um, I think something which we've started very early on was one was the whole logo for Shardium. if you see, I love the logo. It was such a community driven initiative. Everyone contributed. There were so many debates and discussions, and finally, we got a really amazing logo, which is a result of a completely community driven approach. Similarly, I think even the naming convention for the beta net and the test net, uh, there was a lot of deliberations, and the community helped decide what should be the naming, approach for our network. And then the names for the Liberty and for Springs was also selected by the community. So many, I would say, great initiatives that are probably industry first in Shardium. And yeah, even now, so I think I'm not very active right now in terms of posting, because there's so many messages. But every day I keep reading what's happening. I keep seeing the different announcements that are happening on the Discord. It's always fun to see how it's growing so rapidly and how people are helping each other understand. Because for a lot of us, when we joined initially, it's been a lot of time inside, but those who are joining new, I think we need to help them understand Shardium, and get them up to speed on how to be part of this community, how to grow themselves and others around them. So yep, I think a lot of work ahead of us. But the early days are always fun. But if you think about it, we are still in the early days right now. We are still, while 300K seems a large number, I think we could go to millions of community members. So all of us are still early. This is probably still day zero for us, right? So yeah, let's continue to do this.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, so I was just talking to Chandresh a few minutes ago, and we were like, we should go to million. That should be our next target. So that is there. And
Absolutely.
I also remember how we had just S as an initial for the logo, and then we came up with the entire logo. So I remember how an S letter was drawn. So that is there.
Yeah, I think that was like a placeholder. The idea was, we were thinking what to do. We first thought, okay, let's bring a designer and do it. And then I think somewhere the idea was like, why not, take the help of the community? Why not build it with the community? And that's how, even the website, I think there were different community members who helped with the website as well, by the way. So a lot of the things that you see on Shardium is a result of, community's effort. So it's really amazing how it has come together so well.
Definitely. So as we've been talking about, people contributing since day one, what would you like to tell to these people or let these people know who have been contributing since day one and have helped us to build and have helped us build a community like this?
I think first and foremost, I think I'm so thankful to everyone for being part of this, and not just day one. Like I said, even those who joined just now. I'm sure there are people joining even right now. I think the whole willingness to be part of a decentralized community and to talk about this, to spread this information and knowledge about what you understand about Shardium, about decentralization to your friends around you. I think that is a great cause. For example, if you were to just rewind back, go back maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, and if you knew how big the internet would be, I think the best thing that you could do to just serve humanity would be get them onto the internet, because we've seen what the internet has done. Internet has really helped everyone progress irrespective of where they are, what country, what city. Does not matter. If you get access to the internet, it's proven your life gets better. You get to gain knowledge, you get to make money, you get to meet people. You could do everything because of the internet. So if you were an early adopter of the internet, what you would do best is help people get on the internet. Now, the same thing is with decentralization. We are very early, maybe 10 years down the line. It will be very normal for people to be using decentralized products, to be part of, the whole decentralized ecosystem. Uh, but we have the opportunity to make that happen. We can be the ones who really get people onto the whole decentralized network. And I think this is our opportunity. So uh, for everyone who's part of this, I think we're all uh, in this together, and you guys are doing an amazing job spreading the whole understanding and knowledge of decentralization, and that's our goal. So let's keep doing this. I think it's about being part of something historic, where a few years down the line, you'll say that those were the days where people still did not understand some of the basic ethos of decentralization. We helped them understand it. We helped them get onboarded to this crazy decentralized network. And I think that's what we're all doing, trying to create history together.
Definitely. So as you mentioned, I think as you mentioned a few minutes ago that it's still day zero, but I still see a lot of people joining in, and the community size is increasing. So and there are so many people who'd like to contribute, who'd like to take who'd like to spread the awareness of decentralization. So how would you let these guys know and these folks know about how to get started, how to start contributing, and like if yes, then where should they start contributing from?
I think the first thing is, at least in terms of Shardium, you do not need to ask anyone's permission to do something around Shardium. You do not have to uh, try to ask someone whether I can work on this or that, or can I start this. Feel free to do whatever you want with respect to Shardium, and in a direction where you think you can add value. The most basic thing is, I think Discord is the best place to join, simply because what I've also noticed is, while you can achieve a lot of things alone, but when you meet like-minded people and when you meet people who you can learn from and collaborate with, you'll achieve 10x more. So it doesn't matter how good you are. If you can do, let's say, 10 things in a day, if you could meet like-minded people, you could do 100 things a day. And I think that's what you gain by joining this Discord community, which is like-minded people. I mean, just think about it: 300,000 people who know about decentralization, want to do something in it, want to onboard everyone to this whole decentralized ecosystem. That's a powerful set of people. In fact, I'm I've seen so many people getting together, creating startups already, and this is just the beginning. I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot more, people getting together, getting to know each other on the Discord, and then moving on to do great things together. So the best way to get started is join Discord and any other communities around Shardium, and start talking to people, start asking questions. Don't be afraid about asking questions. Sometimes you might think it's very basic, but it's always good, because when you ask a question, there might be five other people who have the same question, and there might be someone else who's probably going to do some research and answer that question for you. So it's a good give and take when you ask the right questions. um, Similarly, I think going a step forward from there, something which is really good to do is you read the Shardium light paper. It might be there might be some technical parts to it, but still, it's just a good read. Don't have to grasp everything. Don't have to understand everything, but it's still good to read it just to get an overview. And then you can dig deeper. There are so many videos. There are so many blog posts. There are so many articles written. There are so many threads on Twitter about the basics of Shardium, which you can read about. Apart from that, I think the whole proof of community meetups that happen. Now, this is something really powerful. While online communities are amazing, when you meet those same people offline and try to get to know them better, the bond between such meetings is stronger, and that helps you really get deep into understanding each other and trying to figure things out better in person. So proof of community is that, which is first meet people online, then go and catch up in proof of community events, go from being a I would say an audience in proof of community to someday being someone who runs these events in your respective geographies. So that's an amazing way. I think we've also got quite a few other programs like Super Shardian, for example. We've got Shardium missions for developers. We've got Shardium leagues where you want to create communities. So there's a lot of these things. You can even contribute to a blog post on Shardium. You can create your own blog around Shardium. And there's a lot of learning from other decentralized networks that we can take. If you look at Bitcoin community, for example, Ethereum, there's a lot to learn from there, and adapt and maybe tweak it and build it around Shardium as well. So we should not shy away from learning from others who are doing good work and then implementing it in our own way, which suits our style. So yeah, do that as well. Build apps if you're a developer. Build communities around it. There's so much to do. I think it'll be overwhelming for someone, but start small. Start by just joining the Discord community and asking questions. I think that's the first step.
Definitely there's a lot for everything. I mean, for everybody there's something out there. So and that's the cheat sheet for everyone who's listening to us right now. That's how you can start contributing. And so I would like to ask you one more thing. Since we've been celebrating this, and now we have 353K community members. What are the next exciting things that are coming up on Discord and on and in the Shardium network itself?
I think I'm pretty sure you and the others have lined up quite a few. From what I understand, there's this community member of the month that you guys are planning, which is interesting. In fact, you should tell me what's the idea around this.
Yeah, definitely. So the idea with the community member of the month is to come up with someone and to recognize someone who has been contributing to the Shardium Discord, giving them a role, and then maybe rewarding them or something. So that's what the idea is with the community member of the month. So the people who have been contributing, we help them. So yeah, that's the idea of the community member of the month, to boost the engagement in the community.
Great, that's amazing. And what other ideas do you have?
We were just what we were doing is we were talking, and we were having random ideas, so we came up with something like transaction of the month, which is also an interesting thing. So people who have been transacting on Shardium, maybe there can be a lucky winner or something, and maybe you reward them or something like that. So that's what transaction of the month is all about. So yeah, these are the things that are coming up in the future
That's interesting.
in the
I
community.
think, yeah, I think these are going to be interesting. We would also love to hear, what other community members have ideas around this, so that we can keep implementing these. But yeah, I think let's try to get some of these going and see how it goes. And if anyone from the community has any interesting ideas on, how to make things more exciting, how to grow faster. So while we are growing amazing, I think one of the key objective always should be, how do we grow faster? How do we grow, more from here? So any ideas you guys have, please let us know. We can then ideate on that and implement it.
Yeah, we are definitely open for that. And I think, Nischal, that's all from my end. That's what I wanted to ask you. But I have a few questions that, not just you, everybody around here has been answering. But, it's always good to hear from you. So I have two questions from the community. And one is, it's about the beta net reward. So the people who are currently running the nodes on Shardium, will they be rewarded?
Um, so see, here's the thing, and I think I should make it clear so that there's not a lot of confusion. We definitely want to reward everyone who's helping build the whole network from the testnet phase. The thing is, we do not want to pre-commit to something unless the program is done. So from what I understand, the team is working on building the right program to reward the testnet users. Um, it has not been decided what exactly it'll be. We were going to launch it soon, but the network is not completely stable in terms of transaction. So we wanted to first fix that. And as soon as that is done, and we understand that the network is stable and the transactions are all working fine, then we would announce it. But there will always be, some way where we will ensure that even users who have helped before that also get rewarded. But it's not completely decided. It's very simple. The reason why we cannot easily decide that is, if we tell you that, let's take an example. Whoever ran a node for 20 days will get some reward. The problem is there are times of instability where, and sometimes you cannot join the network for whatever reason, and then it would lead to resentment amongst people. So what we wanted to do instead is let things happen the way they are happening, and then we can see what are the ways in which we can reward the early adopters based on the data that comes in. Once the network is stable, then we can come up with ideas around getting rewarded on number of transactions, like the transaction of the month you were talking about, or number of transactions someone has done, or how many dApps you ended up using. For all of that, we need the network to first become stable, which is what the team is working. This is the reason why we've not formally announced something yet. So as soon as there is stability, we'll announce a formal program, and then you'll have better clarity. But yeah, it's just so that there is no unwanted, unrest. When the team is focused on building the stability of the network, we wanted the tech team to just focus on that. So once stability comes in, we'll definitely open up a formal proper program. But there will definitely be some portion of the ecosystem, the 5% that we have, that is the overall token allocation for uh, the ecosystem building. And when we say ecosystem, we mean everything, community, dApps, whatever you're building for Shardium, it's all part of the ecosystem.
I hope somebody recorded this and puts this out in on the Twitter, on Discord, everywhere, so that we get less questions of something like these questions. So I have just one more question from you, and that is something again we get every minute, we get every 5 minutes. It's about when mainnet. So yeah, when can we expect Shardim's mainnet?
Yeah, see, the thing is, I think there's a few things to be done before we get ready for mainnet. And the tech team is right now working on it. Very soon, we'll also have some. Right now we're just giving them some breathing space so that they can focus on the network. Um, uh, but the idea is to set up, discuss and set up a roadmap, um, which will we I don't think we will right away put the date for the mainnet or something. But what we intend to do is bring clarity on what are the things pending for mainnet. And just to give some overview right now, we'll get deeper into the details around mainnet. We'll put a more comprehensive, plan. But there are a few things pending, and the idea for this quarter is to be feature complete. What I mean by that is technically the everything that is expected in the mainnet will be built out. That is the plan for this quarter. Uh, that is May, June. Um, and there are a few things pending right now. If you see, the mainnet already has a good number of features out. In fact, we've got you the ability to run your own nodes. You can stake, you can unstake. Um, but there is slashing which is pending, where, and in fact that is one of the reasons why there are some issues in the network, which is there are there are some minimum hardware requirements, for example, that your node should have. But right now we are seeing that there are some nodes which have lower hardware compared to what is expected, which is again leading to issues with the network. So that's not really a bug. That's more about bringing in a feature which will ensure that if your node is not very responsive, it's low hardware, there is some slashing of the staked amount, which is again something that happens in most of the proof of stake networks, so that the minimum hardware requirements are met. So that's one feature which is missing. Then there are a couple of internal protocol level updates and improvements to be done. For example, we never were able to test on 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 nodes simply because it's prohibitively expensive to run that. But thanks to the community, we've been able to test the network at such a large scale that we've realized there are a couple of protocols that need to be updated to handle that kind of scale, which is a good thing, which is also expected out of a beta net, which is to keep testing. So those updates are to be built out. So yeah, the idea is to be feature complete this quarter, and the team is working really hard on making that happen. After that, it'll be two more things pending, which is security testing and scalability testing, which will probably happen in parallel. Um, so in that, the idea is to ensure that you have all the security issues fixed up, whatever gets reported by the community, by the auditors that we appoint to audit the network. So there'll be, I think, one or two audit companies will bring on board, along with the community run security tests that everyone can do, and report bugs around that. The scalability part would be where we would love to see if we can go from maybe 20, 30,000 nodes to maybe 50,000 nodes or 100,000 nodes and see how the network behaves. If there are any issues, fix those. And then we are ready. After that, it'll be about deciding the date and going live. Now, see, we're building an L1, and we are building an L1 which is being built from the ground up, brand new. This is not a fork of an existing blockchain which has existed. In fact, when people even try to fork a blockchain, they take several quarters to get it right and get it out. In our case, it's a brand new blockchain built uh, with the objective of scaling, and it's a sharded network which has never been attempted before. So it's pretty cutting edge, I would say, in the blockchain world. And software which is cutting edge requires a lot of effort and a lot of testing before we can push it out. Because once you it's decentralized, it's a L1. It has to stand the test of time, and you cannot simply push fixes easily once you're live, because there'll be a process. All the nodes will have to update. It's not like we are running just 20, 30 nodes in live. It'll be thousands, tens of thousands of nodes belonging to different people. So it will take a longer time period after the mainnet to update something. So we need to make sure that we have a very robust chain which goes live. So yeah, there's some effort required, but we are taking it one step at a time. Once we are feature complete, then it's all about just bombarding the network, testing it out, trying everything, and then saying, okay, everything looks good. Now we are good to go to the mainnet. So yeah, that's the plan. That's the overview. Now, I'm happy to answer more. By the way, if you want, if there is a way to let people ask questions, if you want to do that for maybe 5-10 minutes, we could do that as well if you have time.
Sure, sure. So what we'll do is just a sec. What I'll do is I'll just enable this, or people who are listening to us, maybe you can just go to the general chat here, and then you can put all of the questions that you would like to ask. So what I'll do is I'll just put this link here in the text. This is the general channel. Shoot your questions, everyone, and maybe Nishal will pick a few questions and he'll answer. Okay, I see several people are typing. Cool. Guys, we need questions.
Or you could just let people raise their hand and just ask the question here if you want.
Um, uh, so I basically disabled that. Maybe we can do it from, the next stage itself. So that is
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah. But maybe
No
so
worries.
yeah. Can you open the general chat, or should I read a few questions for you?
I'm not able to see something. It just shows me slow mode is enabled. Are there
Okay.
questions?
So it's in the general chat. Just a sec. I'll just send. I'll just send it to you on the stage. So if you can see, on your right, you'll find a stage ka message wala thing, and I've just sent the general chat there.
Okay, general. I have
If
to go to
not,
general.
yeah, but if not, I can read the questions out for you.
Ah,
Okay.
no, I can see. But again, I think not all questions will be something that even I would have the answer to. Like, for example, I can see someone is asking what's the advantage of holding POAP NFTs. Um, I think the first objective was to make sure that we give an NFT to those who attend different events, and later in the future there'll be new use cases around. I see. I don't want to promise saying there's airdrops or something. We don't know. Just the only thing we would know is you've attended different events, you've participated as early members, and that's something which is valuable. And then we will figure out how to maybe make it advantageous for having had that POAP. You never know. There can be so many use cases. But I don't think right now. Do we have something concrete, Yash, which is announced or anything around POAPs?
No, not yet. We've been just giving these POAPs for basically it's a proof of attendance for folks. So yeah, nothing concrete
Yeah,
that has been announced so far. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the idea was, I think the general idea is first let's build that community around it, where there are these people who've been early adopters and who are part of it, and then slowly we'll start figuring out and coming up. And in fact, you guys feel free to suggest ideas around it. Um, I think new RPC, when new RPC, the team is working on it. I think before the RPC, the first thing is to make sure that the transactions and all happen. And after that, I think they'll make sure that the RPC also start working well. I'm just reading. Um, I think, yes, an interesting question is how to build a community on Discord from scratch and have sustainable growth. Maybe, all of us should get together and put some good ideas around that for anyone. For example, even someone who wants to be creating their own Shardium community. I think there should be a good document or something on, some of the things we've done along the way and how it's helped us. What were the different experiments that were run? What worked? What did not work? Maybe it'll be good for others to use that as a template.
definitely. I can see one question here. Maybe you would like to answer this. So Sharding's idea was spoken about Vitalik 2 years ago. How is this different to his idea?
So I think, look, sharding as a concept is not new. It's a concept which actually is borrowed from the Web 2 world, where traditional databases, were not able to scale back in the days when the Web 2 internet really took off, with social networks and all, where they were not able to use traditional databases. Very similar to how today we have a situation in blockchain, which is traditional blockchains are not able to handle the kind of growth. Web 2 had a similar challenge back then, many years ago, where the traditional databases were not able to scale the kind of growth that internet saw. So companies started figuring out what is the solution, and sharding was the solution. Sharding as a concept is nothing but breaking a database or anything into smaller pieces which can run in parallel. So instead of having one database, if you have a sharded database, each shard is like a database in itself, and they're all parallel. So you can have hundreds of transactions happening in parallel in different shards. That's the basic concept of sharding. Now that's the concept that we are trying to apply on a blockchain, which just makes it much more harder because blockchain is a public chain, decentralized. And what Vitalik spoke about, or anyone who speaks about sharding, the concept is the same. The question is, how do you apply that concept into a blockchain? And I often cite this example that if you had the traditional combustion engine vehicle that exists, and if you were to make that into an electric vehicle, it's just so much harder that you'll have to make compromises versus what Tesla did. You start from scratch and decide that you'll build the best electric car, and you're able to achieve it because you don't have the baggage of a combustion engine vehicle. There's the same thing with sharding. An existing non-sharded chain will almost find it impossible to be completely sharded. They'll have to make compromises. They'll have to do things, around their existing structure, which will really not open up the full potential of sharding. And that is what is happening to the existing chains like Ethereum who are trying to shard. They'll have to make sacrifices and not really take the full advantage of sharding. While in the case of Shardium, you because we are starting from scratch with sharding as the main concept, uh, we have what I would call like a complete advantage of using sharding, which is why we are able to really, for example, have this TPS, which increases every time a new node joins, which is linear scaling. Uh, that's only possible on Shardium because we started from scratch with sharding as the concept. Then atomic composability. Now, in a lot of other chains which are trying to do sharding, atomic composability breaks. What I mean by that is, let's say, in DeFi, for example, you want to combine multiple smart contracts together in a single transaction. On a sharded network, it's really hard or almost impossible to do because those smart contracts would be on different shards. But in the case of Shardium, you don't have to worry about it. There is atomic composability, irrespective of which shard your smart contract is, and this helps developers to create amazing applications using existing protocols on the blockchain. So all of these advantages, are possible because Shardium was thought from the ground up. Um, and I can go on and on about the differences and advantages. But yeah, these are some of the advantages of sharding on Shardium. I think the other important thing is when you, and if you've already tried Shardium, you will actually not see it as a sharded chain. For you as a end user, whether you're a developer or a developer, it's a simple blockchain, no different from, let's say, the Ethereum of today. You don't have to think about how, the complicated ways of sharding because there is nothing that puts the sharding complexity on you. We have abstracted it away, made it very simple for you. So to an end user or a developer, it's like an unsharded chain. And I think that was the challenge. While a lot of other chains that are trying to do sharding, you'll have to actually select which shard you want to transact on, which shard your smart contract has to be deployed on, which is very complicated and it's going to really, create more barriers to entry. So, yeah, I think these are some of the differences on, I would say, Shardium versus Ethereum or the other chains that are trying to do sharding.
Thank you for that. Um, would you like to take one more question before we um wind this
Yeah,
up?
sure.
So there's this one thing that I also wanted to ask you. It's about, so people have been asking you, when are you changing the emoji that you have in on your Twitter profile, which is a thunder emoji. People wanted to be changed to an upside emoji, which represents blockchain trilemma. So just like how I have it on in my my name.
I think it's only you who wants to ask that question. I don't think
No,
has someone really asked that question.
yeah, there are other folks as
No,
well.
but okay. Uh, I think in between I tried and there was some issue or error where I could not change my name or something happened. I don't remember. Uh, Probably now it's possible. I'll test it out. But before there was something wrong with Twitter. I think I don't remember, but I think because they were changing that whole blue tick thing with verified accounts, there was some issue. So I'll see if it is possible to change now. I'll change it for sure.
Awesome. I think that's it. We just not celebrated so many community folks, basically completing 300K folks, but also discussed a lot of things about Shardium and questions about it. So, questions revolving about Shardium. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who joined, and thanks Nischal for this stage. We'll be having more such stages, and moving forward we'll have more stages. So feel free to join in when we announce it in the event section. And yeah, that's about it. Again, thank you so much, Nischal. Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thanks a
Bye.
lot for having me.